morning, dear students. Welcome to chemistry period with a new chapter that is analytical chemistry. Students, this is a very important chapter in chemistry. From this chapter, 4 to 5 marks question must come in every year in board examination, as well as it is a very simple chapter. So now we are going to discuss about this. So let's begin, children. First, as you can observe here, I have written analytical chemistry. First question must arises to your mind. What is the meaning of analytical? Actually, analytical is related term to analysis. Analysis means when we getting any substance, we just try to find out it is made up of what. That is known as analysis. So as you are entering in chemistry lab, there you can observe various kind of reagents as well as salts are placed. So this analysis is of two categories, quantitative, qualitative. Now what is the meaning of quantitative? Quantitative analysis mainly we will do in standard 11 and 12. Here I am just giving you the meaning of that. Quantitative means to find the components of mixture. Like when we thinking about air, then you know that air is a mixture of hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all this. So what is the amount of hydrogen, nitrogen and carbon dioxide is present in air? In that way it is known as quantitative analysis. And at the same time another part is qualitative. Qualitative means finding out the unknown substance present in the given sample. So how can we find out the unknown substance? With the help of reagent. With the help of reagent. Now what is this reagent? Reagent is actually a chemical when you entering in lab, then you getting your on your table some substance are placed in bottles and we are normally using them for reaction. How we using them? By taking them and adding to any solution. So reagent is a substance that react with other substance. It is a substance that react with other substance. Clear, students? Meaning of reagent? A substance which reacts with other substance. In this chapter, we are going to react with other substance. Other substance. Clear? In this chapter, we will mainly use alkali. Here, for this chapter, we are going to use alkalis. And these alkalis are NaOH and NH4OH. So these two reagents we are going to use in this chapter for finding out the different kind of cations present in a given sample of salt. So understood the meaning of reagent? Now let's begin. Now here I have written alkalis. An example. I think you must knowing what is this alkali. Alkalis are water soluble bases. This one is a strong alkali. This one is weak alkali. NaOH is strong alkali and NH4 is weak alkali. So when you will get any sample of salt and you have to find out the cations, you are going to use these two kind of alkalis there. So now we will discuss all this one by one. First thing is here, just now I told you give a sample of salt. So when you will get any kind of salt, either it can be colored or it can be colorless. Colored or colorless, I mean to say colorless means white color. And colored salt, like when you're getting copper sulfate, you're getting it is of blue color. When you will get iron salt, mainly green color or reddish brown color. So how we can understand which salt will contain what kind of color? For this, students, you have to learn one table given in your book. That is on page number 64, where a list of cations and anions in the form of colored and colorless, it is mentioned properly. So you must go through page number 64 of your book where regarding cations and anions it is mentioned. Here I am giving you some example. When you are getting salt, then among this salt, when we are thinking about representative element, so salt of representative elements are generally colorless. Representative elements are what? Group 1, 2 and 3 to 12. Sorry, 3 to 17. So when we're thinking about representative elements, then the salts are colorless. What about these salts? These salts are colorless. At the same time, when we're thinking about transition element, transition or D block element, you already studied in periodic table chapter. D block elements, they are generally colored. They are generally colored salt, giving colored salt. And that's why just now I told you to learn the table given in page number 64 of your book. Page number 64 of your textbook. There is a table related to cations and anions that is provided there. So I think children, you have understood when you will get a given sample of salt, and if it is colorless, they must belong to either group 1, 2 or 3 to 17. At the same time, if you're getting a colored salt, they must belong to transition element or D block elements. Like transition element salt, like I am telling you, copper salt, iron salt, these are of colored nature. Chromium salt. At the same time, when you're getting salt of zinc, when you're getting salt of aluminium, salt of sodium, salt of magnesium, salt of ammonium, so they are of colorless nature. These are the cations, they are colorless in nature. These are the cations, they are colored in nature. And at same, some anions are also there which are colored as well as colorless. Like I am mentioning here some anions that is colored, like manganate, dichromate and chromate. Dichromate and chromate. So these are colored anions. Manganate is of pink or purple color. It is of pink or purple color. That is of orange color and that is of yellow color. Dichromate is of orange and chromate is of yellow color. Here as I have written, these are the colorless. Here it is blue, green, reddish brown and chromium. Chromium is of what color, children? Green. Okay. Same way, here some anions like chloride, sulfate, nitrate, all these are of colorless nature. Some examples I am giving you: Cl minus, Br minus, all these are of colorless nature. Okay. So you must go through the table given in your book, then you can understand it properly. Now we are going to understand the meaning of precipitate, or what is the use of alkali, how this alkali is used for analysis of salt. Like when we thinking about copper salt, just for an example, when we thinking about copper salt, first salt coming to our mind is copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is blue crystalline salt. So when we dissolving in water, we getting blue solution. And if you will add here NaOH, as I told you alkali, then you will get here copper hydroxide. What you will get here? Copper hydroxide. As well as you will get here another salt, that is Na2SO4. This copper hydroxide it is coming in the form of insoluble solid, and that insoluble solid is known as precipitate. What it is known as? Precipitate. So children, you can observe here, I have taken here blue solution, that is transparent or completely soluble. NaOH solution, copper sulfate solution, that is a solution of transparent, and NaOH, that is colorless alkali. After mixing these two in the test tube, there you will get a insoluble solid, and that insoluble solid is known as precipitate. So now next question arises here, how can we define precipitate? What is the meaning of precipitate? So as I have given you just now one example to you, So now I think you can understand the meaning of precipitate. So what is precipitate, children? Precipitate is a insoluble substance which get formed when an alkali is going to add it to a salt solution, or one solution added to another solution. Then when we getting a insoluble solid in container, that is known as precipitate. Clear? Insoluble solution in container, that is precipitate. And precipitate is done by the process of precipitation. So what is precipitation? It is the process of formation of an insoluble solid when solutions are mixed. So related to analysis of given salt, most of the point just now we have discussed. Now next part we will do in next video. Thank you, children.